Hi there. You're hearing a voice, but you're not seeing me. But you will in a second because we're late, and we'd rather have you seeing my robe than thinking that we deserted you tonight. So, could you shut that light off, honey?
I will.
Well, hello there. My name is Beth Green, otherwise known as Granny Rocks, and I want to talk to you about the question of, do you want to work that hard? I don't. Okay, so I actually have quite a bit to say about this, but before I get onto that topic, and I think many of you are going to relate to this topic, I'd like to introduce you to Sweet Baby James, who's going to introduce our show.
Well, hi there, Sweet Baby James, otherwise known as James Maynard. And tonight's show it's called, and every week it's called, Granny Rocks.
Granny Rocks.
Granny Rocks. I almost said a former show. And this airs every Monday and Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. So we have the opportunity to hear Granny Beth share her wisdom, her wit, and her very uncommon sense, which turns out to quite often make a lot of sense.
Thank you, honey. Okay, get those comments going. So, a very interesting thing has been happening lately. I don't know if this has been happening in your world. For many of us, the coronavirus lockdown is being slowly phased out. And so things that you couldn't do before, now you can. Hair salons in some cases, dog groomers, piano tuners, whatever. There's a lot of things. Certain stores are reopening, and so, but it's very slow. And we're in Oregon. I happen to think we have an excellent governor, and she's really trying to be very responsible. And what I've noticed is that the people that have not been working don't want to start working again.
Dog groomers, piano
So
tuners,
what's
whatever.
happening
There's a lot
is,
of
that's
things.
okay, Sweet
Certain
Baby
stores
James
are
has just
reopening,
discovered
and so
his
it's very slow. And we're in
speaker
Oregon.
is still on. So
I
he's now
have-
frantically trying to shut it off. Okay, thank you. So I noticed this. It's like you would think that they would be like desperate to get back to work and make money again. Uh, well, I think they may want. Well, so now many of these people are a little bit older, and they're getting closer to retirement. And I'm thinking, I mean, they're not even getting back to us to say, oh yeah, I don't want to go to work, but some of them are. And so what I'm thinking is, ooh, they've had a little taste of not working so hard, and they like it.
Yeah.
And I've noticed this in other of my clients who are actually employed, like they're younger and they're employed, but they've been working from home and they haven't had to commute and they haven't had a lot of things that they normally would have to do.
And by the way, Elizabeth says hi,
Hello, Elizabeth.
and Karen says, hi, you two, much love. Sends a couple of hearts to us.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
And was
linked
that the
hearts.
beginning?
Yes.
Okay, great. Welcome. So glad to have you here. So, and I've been asking myself too, well, has this coronavirus been impacting me in that way as well? And I think it has, to tell you the absolute truth. Well, one of the reasons is because I'm so damn tired and I'm so old that it's like, do I have to work that hard? But where did this idea come from that we have to work that hard anyway? And is it time for us to reevaluate?
I think so.
I think
Do you?
I do. So one of the things that, see, we were so not working hard that we were even late coming on the air. So, and I considered, sometimes I make a few notes before the show, and sometimes I don't. Well, I didn't want to work that hard, so I didn't make any notes. And I said, well, okay, maybe the show won't be as good. And I thought, well, too bad. Ask for your money back. I mean, is this an attitude that you want to hear? So now
I just want to put in here that Beth is so intuitively guided that she's done numerous videos and shows just extemporaneous, and it didn't matter whether she took notes or not. It all fit together as far as I was concerned.
That's true. But it might be a little bit more organized. People might like it better. I didn't care. I just didn't care. So I have to take a look at this. What's this about? And is this a good thing or a bad thing? So I just want to cover a couple of reasons that we work too much. first of all, I want to tell you that my mother definitely worked too hard her whole life. It was just, she couldn't sit down and watch television ever without also knitting or doing something else. And they would have guests over and they were having a little party, and it would be, they'd go home at 2 a.m. and my mother, and therefore my father, because he had to do what she said, right? She would have to clean the house from top to bottom till it was the bathroom was clean, the carpeting was vacuumed, everything was plumbed up before she could go to bed. It didn't matter if it was 4 in the morning. So she was in that habit of working hard, and that's what I saw modeled. And I thought that was that normal? Actually, I think even as a child, I thought, she's crazy. And then in addition to that, my mother worked outside the home. She was raising children. My father was sick. She was taking care of him. And that did not stop her from washing the bathroom floor every morning before she went to work and cleaning the kitchen to perfection every night. She would take out a toothbrush and a toothpick, and she would take down everything that was hanging from the walls and wash it and clean the refrigerator every night. So
I only do a fraction of that, and I still work too hard.
So anyway, that was the modeling that I had. So that's number one. Now there's a number two as to why I have worked too hard. We were poor. Have you ever noticed that poor people often have to work way too hard? They don't get paid. I'm not that poor anymore. I mean, we're not wealthy, but we're not like I was, where I had, could barely keep it together, hardly, didn't have anything to eat. It's like when you don't get paid very much, you often have to work a lot of hours. And this is a tragedy that happens in so many families, that people are working way too hard just trying to meet the basic necessities. And then on top of that, they have kids to take care of. And nobody ever said, you don't have to have that many kids because that may be too much. The husband or your wife is a drunken bum and isn't going to help you, and you really need to take a look at this. But no, I mean, it's like assumed that you're going to do all of these things. And then you have to do the parenting the way other people think you should do the parenting, which adds extra work. Now, I'm not saying that parenting isn't hard work in and of itself, but sometimes we add stuff. It's like, oh, I have to make her a little this, and I've got to twist her curls this way, and I've got to prove something about myself by working so much harder. Otherwise, you may be considered a lazy bum. Well, we wouldn't want that, would we? Would we want to be a lazy bum? Now, I want to
I don't mind being one, but I don't want to be considered.
That's right. Now, another thing I want to say about this topic of working too hard is that the working class worked very hard in order to win the 8-hour day. Mm-hmm. And that did not just come. I mean, it's not like the owners of the industry said, oh, the poor workers were working way too hard.
We're making too much profit off their backs.
Oh, yeah, we should give you a shorter work day, shorter work week. I mean, people would work in the factory 12 hours, 14 hours. The children would go working too. I mean, it was a movement. There was a union. They believed in unions then. And people fought for the 8-hour day. Well, it has slipped away. Now, I'm not talking about outside this country. It may not be the same. But I'm talking about what I know. And what I know is right here that a lot of people are not working the 8-hour a day. And, it's not only poor people, it's also these middle management people who consider them above the workers, and they're not in unions, but they have to do anything because they're on salary. See, and they have a job to do. And so they have to be available. And they have to prove how hard they're working because they want to get ahead. So...
Mm-hmm. Oh, we have a nice message here from Jose.
Yes.
He says, hi, Mama. God bless you so much.
Thank you.
It's interesting to listen to you one more time. Jose from the Dominican Republic.
Oh, gracias. Gracias, Jose. So we're in Oregon. So this business of this mentality that we feel so much pressure. If you are poor, you have to work hard in order to get a scholarship, in order to get to the right school, in order to get ahead, and And do we ever say, is this really what I want anyway? For those of us who even have a choice, because we have these drives and these ambitions to prove something about ourselves.
That's right.
And it isn't just that we are proving about ourselves that we're hard workers, which is a value, because we don't want to be slugs. And there are people who really don't contribute very much, and that's not good either. But I'm talking about a balanced life where you get what you need and you're only working as much as you should. But you look at the industrialization of the world and how much more quickly we can produce a pair of shoes than we could 100 years ago. And yet our work week is not going down. Why is that? Isn't that odd? Well, let's take fast fashion, for example. We have people out there who are working hard to try to convince you that you need the latest clothes. In fact, they're making all those other people in Bangladesh and Vietnam and everywhere else work really hard in order to create those clothes that you're going to buy and that you're going to throw away because you have to. And then there's the whole advertising agencies that are working hard to convince you that you need this. And so there's a lot of work that is perfectly useless, not necessary. But see, that's not the way it goes. Because if you don't have that job and you don't sell that product and you don't do that, you're not going to get the big bucks, are you? Or the little bucks or any bucks whatsoever. So it doesn't have to do with necessity, guys. It's not that we really need to work that hard. In fact, there have been many studies that have demonstrated that when people have more time off, they are more productive. So we don't really need to work that hard. But I want to come in with what I consider to be the zinger of this whole topic. The zinger is...
Ta-da!
I can't remember. It just left me. I will be back. Oh, yes. So many of us are working hard to get something that we don't need. And now I'm not talking just about silly extra clothes that we don't need when we could actually make products that lasted a long time. I mean, most of my clothes, honest to God, 30 years old, 40 years, they're still hanging in the closet, right? 20, unfortunately, the elastic is falling down. But I don't know how to sew. But, that's a problem. But you never know, because when I don't get dressed for these shows anyway, but when I do Dreams of Peace, I'm sitting there. You don't know that my pants are falling off. But I am talking about something else. I am working hard to get something from you. Your love. Your validation. Your admiration. Something. We work hard to try to get something from our significant other, like our husband or wife or some other person in our lives, or from our children, or from our parents, or from our society, or get the vote, or get something like that. And we are working hard in order to get that. And we think we need it.
Yeah, I am that. I relate to that.
Yeah, I do too, honestly. So that's why I had so much fun coming on the show today and coming in the robe. And I mean, I always come in a robe, but I mean, not even sitting here and saying, I don't have to prove anything to you. I don't have to get your validation. I don't have to get your approval. I don't have to have any of those things. But I think I do on an emotional level. I feel like I do. Now, it is true that when we are young, we are trained to buy people's support by getting them to either validate us, think we're great, be afraid of us, like our parents. Sometimes we intimidate them, or we make them feel guilty, and they feel like they need to be that way too, and everybody is really working hard to extract something. So, for example, let's say sweet baby James is not validating me that day, and I actually believe that I need that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could happen.
It could. And so what am I going to do? Either I can get very mad, I can beat him up to try to get that validation and love, or I can try to do something, like I can try to fix him. Now, for me, if you want to know the true story of Beth Green, I have spent my entire life trying to change consciousness on this planet for what I consider to be the better. I want people to be more loving, more caring. At a very young age, I looked around and I said, what is wrong with us? How come we're so mean and self-centered and all of that stuff? And I'm gonna do something about this. So now I have to convince people that they should listen to me. Now that's a lot of work. You don't want to listen to me? Don't listen to me. But I felt driven to get you to listen to me. And that's equally true in counseling. I am an excellent, intuitively guided counselor. I do individual sessions, people and couples, I run groups and so on. And I'm really good. And some people don't like it. And I am like working so hard to get you to want to hear what I have to say, because I think I'm going to help you. And you don't want it. Not everybody, but a lot of people don't want it. They don't want to work that hard. They don't want to look at themselves. They don't want self-awareness. And I've always felt like it was my job to smash through denial. And I always thought that, well, of course, people will love me, and they'll listen to me, and they will respect me, even though they're uncomfortable and don't want to. It's like I think that it's going to matter to them, to me, that it's going to prove something if they will set aside their fear in order to listen. So guess what? I have worked very, very hard in my life. Much of it for free. So I want you to think about why you work too hard, if you feel like you do, or why you're not working enough, if you think that's the case. And ask yourself, what are you trying to make happen? Why do I always feel like I'm pushing the boulder up the hill? Yes, there are financial issues and there's survival issues, but it's much bigger than that. It's this feeling that somehow I'm supposed to do this.
Yeah, got to prove my value.
I have to prove my value.
To myself and to others.
And I have to make you get well. And then I get upset when people don't listen to uncommon sense. So, therefore, I declare, my Declaration of Independence is that I'm not going to do that anymore. At least I'm going to try. And I'm not going to work hard to not do it. It's easy. I am so tired. We have a puppy now. I am so tired. I am so sick. I don't even have it if I wanted to. It's forcing me to really look at that. And I'm inviting you to look at if you have had an experience where you are not working as hard. Looks like we have a couple of.
We have a comment from Kim who says, great topic.
Thank you, Kim.
And we have an Arabic comment which will have to be translated later, and then
later.
you'll be responding.
I will. And I may not respond in the next 5 minutes because I don't want to work that hard. I don't want to squander the little life that I have, trying to create something out of nothing, trying to force something that isn't meant to be. So I'd like you to think about your life, and I'd love to hear your comments. So please share this show, like, love, comment. I will get to it. I will answer. What about you, James? Is there anything you would like to share before we call it a night?
I love the comment you made about how we have enough productivity with technology that we don't have to work that hard to be productive and to meet all of our needs. And over in Europe, there are lots of countries there that people work way fewer hours. They're way more content with their lives. And why not us too, you know? But I realize you're dealing with the deeper drives. And for me, my deeper drive has been to prove my value to be validated in the eyes of others and then in my own eyes.
That's right, James. So that's the big thing. I think I read somewhere that the serfs in the Middle Ages didn't work as much as we do.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is it. Industrialization. Everybody became an adjunct to the machine, and you had to keep feeding that machine.
Oh, yes. And Karen also says, I love this topic.
Oh,
thank you, Karen.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you, Karen. So, Mondays and Wednesdays, Granny Rock, 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. Thursday,
Dreams of Peace.
Dreams of Peace, improvisational piano. And guess what? We're getting the piano tuned on Thursday. It has taken this long to be able to get someone to come up here and tune that piano. And I can't play one more time with that piano not in tune. So I'm really, really thrilled. And I send you all kinds of love and hope that someone finds this inspiring, educational, enlightening, and liberating.
Yes.
So.
Okay. And also, Elizabeth says, great topic also.
Thank you,
Elizabeth.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
So if you're feeling like you don't want to work that hard, then you probably don't. And maybe we all need to start demanding that we co-create a world where work is in proportion and where we're not striving to prove something about ourselves, and that we can say we should get paid appropriately so we don't all have to kill ourselves in order to get by.
Amen.
Love you guys.
Love you all.
Bye-bye.
Take care.